Welcome back to the Profits of IT. Today's guest just did not come here to talk about government procurement. He's here to win, win, win. And yeah, that's why we had to kick things off with his walk-up song, a little DJ Khaled, win, win, win. Because if there's one guy that knows how to turn bureaucratic nightmares into big wins, it's Bryan. If you're listening for the first time, I'm Jim Punzenberger, CEO of Neutron Solutions, author of the $0 advertising strategies, and creator of the managed prospecting system. Also, your host here on Profits of IT. We're all about throwing truth bombs and challenging status quos. We're here to give you real talk with just enough edge to make you spill your coffee and maybe rethink how you're running your business. So, Bryan, why don't you just take a quick moment to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jim. So Bryan Guinn, I'm the CTO of SBIR Advisors. I help small businesses get government R&D contracts.
Cool. So, Bryan, let's cut to it. Everyone here has hit walls in their career, but I bet you've got a special one. A real face plant type moment that almost made you throw in the towel. Can I ask what was that?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in tech since the late 90s, and most of my life's been on the commercial side. And back in 2018, kind of found out about the federal government small business program and kind of moved into the world of federal procurement and government procurement and kind of that acquisition cycle. And I'll say I learned the hard way that government procurement is no sprint, right? It really is an endurance race. I think I thought because we were dealing kind of in this rapid prototyping type environment that we'd be able to move things a lot slower, but it really did turn into a different process, right? And it was a little bit of frustration, but fortunately over time I've kind of figured out how to overcome that.
Okay, so you were thinking it was going to be quick and simple, and sounds like it turned out to be a slow, long, drawn-out marathon, kind of like running in molasses. So, what did you figure out how to overcome this, and what's your new game plan?
Yeah, so a lot of it was like kind of looking at like what were the reasons behind it, right? So I can go in and I can very rapidly get a small business who's never done work with the Department of Defense on contract and say 90 days for their initial R&D project. But then it's how do I operationalize and transition that to a program of record to sustainment and maintenance, operationalize the capability. And it was really about getting creative, right? Like understanding early on to engage the right stakeholders across those organizations that maybe even the people we were working with on those novel R&D projects didn't really understand how to navigate that acquisition cycle. But it can even be things of going out and helping get money pushed back down to the program so that they can actually execute on that, the goodness that came out of that initial R&D and actually operationalize it and push that capability out to the warfighter. So it was really just about finding creative paths and alternatives to be able to deliver.
Cool. So, what else have you doing are you doing now that really changed your approach, or I guess, and ultimately, if one of our listeners is an MSP or in the tech space and a business owner and wants to get into government procurement, how would you recommend they go about it, or and how would you change your approach if you were starting out now?
Sure. So, I mean, a lot of it is that as time goes by and new technologies like artificial intelligence have really become mainstream, these organizations are looking at how can they leverage that to be more efficient, be prepared for future conflict, provide capabilities to, services to citizens. A lot of it was around dual use technology becoming really important to the DoD. So instead of them going out and asking someone to go build a purpose built solution that had limited innovation around it because the only people feeding requirements was the government, being able to tap into, and especially when you think of things like artificial intelligence, all of the good work that's coming out of Silicon Valley, out of these early stage startups that are building novel commercial technologies that, Fortune 500 companies will adopt, use, provide feedbacks, drive innovation around, being able to pull that in, rapidly adapt it to be able to fit mission purpose, right? And so I think it's understanding that you have a commercial technology that the DoD is very similar to any large organization in the sense of how they consume and leverage technology, both from day to day, everything from HR, payroll, all the way out to the warfighter and more specific capabilities in the edge. But it's really about how do we build that ecosystem of those dual use commercial companies. The Small Business Innovation Research Program is one way. There's groups like AFWorks and SpaceWorks and NavalX, who are all innovative arms of these military branches who look to find those dual use technologies, right? And really bring them in. And part of what we've done is we've taken all of those companies that we've worked with, and we've worked with over 400 companies. We've won over $750 million in funding for those companies to work with them to push their products in a sole source manner out to those government customers, and leveraging a channel ecosystem of people with existing relationships and networks to really help those companies who maybe don't have that historical background in the government to be able to now open up that new market opportunity for them.
Cool. It sounds like you're really excited about this, or this space really excites you. And I assume that you guys are action takers on this, and you're not just sitting around on your laurels. What are some big things coming down the pipe?
Yeah, so I mean, right now there's a big push as we look at different conflicts that are going on across the globe, in kind of how is warfare changing, right? What is the future conflict going to look like? And so again, kind of this idea around how can we leverage technologies, be it artificial intelligence, being autonomous systems that interact and interconnect to be able to provide really real-time information, even in denied environments, right? And so a lot of what we're looking at, and what's really got me excited about this, is really being able to, again, take this really good, innovative commercial technology, bring it in, provide those companies non-dilutive R&D funding, which as a startup, non-dilutive funding is great, right? Not having to give up equity to get access to capital, and to be able to take my core commercial product and adapt it for that specific use really drives a lot of near-term wins, right? So, no past performance required by these companies, and truly helping them be at the forefront of what that future conflict's going to look like, and making sure that we as a nation are prepared to protect our citizens, right, and provide them the services that they need.
Cool. And so you're saying you've basically built up really, I think I'm hearing, or what I've heard, is you've really built up a way for tech companies to simplify getting into the government work. You want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of it is, you could try to go do business with the DoD, and it's like, where do you start, right? And often past performance is the place, right? Like you have to at some point have had some amount of past performance to be considered for these. And so, you go through the long, arduous process of working as a subcontractor, doing things like that. And, that can take time. Those are long sales cycles, to get money budgeted for purchase of even, IT software. I mean, you could be looking at 18 to 24 months. These innovative groups have levered what the Small Business Administration has had around since the 80s in the Small Business Innovation Research Program, that fast track to be able to get access to the government in a rapid contracting mechanism. It's great for the programs because a lot of times they may not have research and development dollars in their budget. And this is a pool of money outside of their budget that they can tap into to do innovative research and development. And so it's really about identifying those requirements that the government has, where we'll get those requirements fed back out to industry, and then finding those novel technologies. I was out in San Francisco week before last for TechCrunch Disrupt, where I was meeting with a number of these innovative companies, be it on the AI front or even with physical goods, that are doing some really novel things that with the right adaptation, with the right understanding of what those government requirements are, they can actually leverage those commercial technologies to help solve a challenge that they have on the Department of Defense side.
Cool. And so if I'm a listener and I'm thinking I want to shortcut my way to the government space, what's the best way of getting in touch with you? Are you on social media? Still have an old MySpace account to reach out to you on, or what's the best way to find you?
Yeah, I don't think the MySpace is up anymore, but who knows? Maybe it is still out there. But yeah, no, I think reaching out to one, there's a lot of resources, right? The Small Business Administration has a number of resources. Again, organizations like I mentioned, like AFWorks or SpaceWorks or Naval X provide a lot of resources to small businesses. We obviously work with small businesses day in, day out, help them go through this process with a lot of success. And a great way to get a hold of me is to just reach out to me on LinkedIn, right? Shoot me a message. I'm on LinkedIn a lot, a big believer in it. I think it's a great way to network, connect. I know that's how you and I got connected and learned about each other.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, just reach out to me on LinkedIn, shoot me a direct message. I really do respond to everyone to at least say yes or no, let's have a conversation. But yeah, I would certainly be open to talking to any small businesses that just want to learn a little bit more about it. When we say small business, I think it's important to point out, by definition, it's, companies who are under 500 employees, right? And that are
Hmm.
51% US owned. And so, you can have some pretty good sized small businesses in that kind of employee count
Right.
range, but it's a great opportunity. And I'm always happy to talk and find out if, what you're doing is a good fit. And it also lets us learn about new technologies that are coming out so that when we're working with our government partners, we're providing them the value of understanding what innovations are in the market.
Cool. And as we wrap up here, if you have any one last thoughts or any last bit of advice for our listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this is a great opportunity to help be part of something that's meaningful that affects really all of our daily lives, right? Even national defense is really everyone's role in some form or fashion, and so I think if you're a small business and you're wanting to break into government programs or if you're a reseller in the government space looking for new tech partnerships, reach out. We'll cut through the red tape and get you on the fast track.
So, Bryan, we're going to walk off with your walk up song. It's been a real eye opening episode. Let's face it, probably gave our listeners a few flashbacks of their own procurement nightmares. Thank you for coming on Profits of IT, where we don't just talk shop, we shake things up and hopefully help you win, win, win. Hey, listeners, if you've gotten something out of this, please hit like, please hit share, please subscribe so we can keep making waves together. Until next time, keep it bold, keep it sharp, and keep winning.